Hey everyone, today's video we're going to cover onboarding rules engine. The onboarding rules engine is here to help you analyze the data being submitted during the application process and make smart decision based on it. Fully automation of the transaction routing logic, risk rules, different application statuses, and many more other automations in the process. So let's start. To go through, we're going to go to applications, our rules engine, and onboarding rules. First step will be setting up the rules we want to analyze. The second step will be understanding which events we have that are triggering that run a processing of the onboarding rules engine. Screen we can see we have many rules here, but let's take one of them as an example. In this use case, we see that we have a group assigned, which is step one. You can create multiple groups of rules and then run them in specific events in the system. Each group of rules will accumulate as many rules as you want. It could be tens, it could be singles, it's up to you. And if each rule can have multiple conditions. In this example, we have business type, that in case of business type equals ecom, then we'll decide the application form that's going to be assigned to the merchant. In this case, banking regulation. We can make a smarter decision by saying not just business type, but also the country the merchant is registering from will be one of our country groups, and let's say SEPA. So in case an e-com merchant coming from SEPA countries, then we'll assign the banking regulation new form. We can decide later on in the step that based on this rule, not just to assign the application form, but also to change the lead status to, let's say, in review, application sent, and so on. So you can literally analyze the data and based on the analysis, make a decision to update the lead status. You can also say later on that if an e-com merchant coming from SEPA, we're going to assign different transaction routing logic and choose one of the available templates. There's another video talking about terminal templates that you can have a look in our channel that will explain to you how the terminal templates work. But then here, let's say under the assumption he's coming from SEPA countries, we're going to set different USB euro-based routing, payment methods for online banking, and so on. Each template will apply the specific terminal routing that assigned to that template. You can create multiple rules to apply additional templates afterwards. You can also make the decision on which KYC, KYB provider to assign, and based on that, we'll choose the relevant account that's associated with the profile. So you can choose here from Amnet, Trulio, SumSub, Shifty Pro, GetID, and even using SumSub Web SDK to open the selfie configuration and many more. You can set your periodic fees, risk rules and limits on how many transactions per card, per email, per week, per day, per month, whatever you see the configuration, or using this as a scoring mechanism to analyze the data and say, okay, if a merchant is an e-com merchant coming from SEPA, we're going to assign X amount of rules of lower risk and so on that part. The more rules you apply, the score starts with 1,000 and then gets deducted all the way down to zero. Then you later on can decide if a score is between 500 and 700, make the decision if it's a high risk, low risk, and so on merchant on that part. Once we've configured those set of rules, we can understand, first of all, which events are running them. So again, under application, rules engine, we have the rules engine events. Each event shows us the touch points that are again. So we have if the accounts onboarding portal, someone clicks save, or they're finalizing the application. If the onboarding is done through API or is done from the account page, which is the basic form under the merchant control panel or under the banking portal. If we're adding a merchant from the admin, meaning any one of your employees adding a merchant through the quick add, we can set and run different set of rules on that part. We can click the button to run rules manual, either for merchants or for customers, updating the lead status to approved, meaning once you've decided to approve the application, then we're going to run X set of rules that finalizes the analysis and makes a decision on the transaction routing and everything else. Or when we decide we want more information, you can change the application form from being a basic application form to an extended one, and so on in the mix. Also, in the case you decide to reject it, you can update everything and decline it on that part. Every time we go to a merchant, so let's open one of them right now. Each merchant profile will show you the history of the rules engine being analyzed by the platform, and based on those analysis, then you can make a smarter decision how to proceed. So now we see the full list of merchants, opening one of them now. And that will help us make the decision on what to go forward. So Now that the merchant is open, we can go to the rules tab. We can see here that the current score for this merchant is 940. We can run an additional test at the moment. We can see all the rules that have been analyzed. Some are not applicable because there's no data in the parameter. We can see here all the history of the analysis based on this very specific account. And for every one of the rules that being analyzed, we can see a snapshot of all the information that was part of the merchant configuration at the moment that we've analyzed it. So you can always have a look what was the detail that was used in order to process this analysis and how to proceed from that, and also see the specific result for this merchant on that part. To learn more about the onboarding process, dynamic application form, and different rules, check out our channel for additional videos. Thank you for watching.